Hey everyone, it's Natalie and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to talk about the zodiac signs as children. I have been working at a daycare center / learning center for over a year now, and I've experienced a lot of kids now, some from every sign, and I've learned a lot from these kids. I feel like this has been the best job I've ever had. And not only that, but I like learning about the signs in this way too, because my previous knowledge before I got this job was just centered around people not that far from my age. And now I've learned a lot about the signs as children. And I have some things that might be kind of interesting to learn about. These are just my own observations, things that I've noticed, like some interesting qualities of the kids that some might be a bit surprising to learn about, or might actually go with the typical cookbook descriptions of the signs. First, Aries. Aries kids are really funny, and they can sometimes be kind of bossy just because, you know, they like to have their needs met right away. They actually like to be babied, because if you think about Aries, they're the first sign, so they're the youngest one, so they are kind of babies. They're naturally innocent, so they like to be treated like that from other people. And they are independent, but they usually need to ensure their security first before they can be fully independent, before they can be comfortably independent. They need to know that you're going to be there at the drop of a hat. Like, if they fall and hurt themselves, they need you to be on your way to them. They're not like other kids where they can just pick themselves up and be okay, depending on the Aries. Typically, they need to see that you are focused on them in some way. This makes them feel more confident and able to be more independent. They have to have that sense of security first. Taurus. Taurus children need a lot of physical affection. Usually more than other signs. Other signs are kind of like that too, but Taurus especially, they need a lot of hugs. They need to feel very close physically with you. They also need to have a schedule that needs to be pretty consistent. They don't really do well when their schedule changes. They don't adjust and adapt very well, not like other signs. They need to have consistent meals and consistent nap schedules or sleep schedules, because sleep and food and physical touch are like the essential things for them. When Taurus children get mad, they get pretty freaking mad. And what I've learned is just to let them be mad, because they need to have like a release of this anger, and then they can kind of move on from it. If they don't get that release, if they're kind of shut down or like it's restricted, it just kind of creates more chaos for the Taurus and for you as the caretaker. Gemini. Obviously, Gemini children need to be able to talk. They have a lot of questions, and it might get annoying, but you have to answer the questions because they expect you to answer them, and they expect you to answer them honestly. They can usually tell when there's something missing, information missing. They're pretty smart. They also get pretty lonely easily, so they like to follow people around. You know, they're kind of like the follower of their groups, or they follow the adults around, just talking and asking question. So just let them follow you. It's pretty simple. Just listen to them and answer their questions. They're very imaginative. They like to make up a lot of stories, so some of their stories can be kind of exaggerated. It's okay. Just let them express themselves. And something I've noticed with Gemini children as well is, don't try to make them be a mood that they're already not. They're typically pretty happy children, but I've noticed when they're not happy, you know, it's like the kid that when they're not happy, you're like, oh, you're usually happy, like be happy, you know, I want you to be happy because that's who you are. They're not always going to be happy. Let them be the other kind of mood, because maybe it'll help them as they get older to not feel like they always have to be happy for everyone else's sake. They can be whatever they want to feel. So yeah, that's just something I've noticed about Gemini children. The Cancer children. These are like the silliest kids. They're usually the spoiled child of their family, or they like to be spoiled by you, so they love a lot of like cuddles and affection, and they say I love you more than any other sign as kids. They're always telling you I love you, and say it back. They love to know that you love them, that you see them. And they're very silly, and they love to make people laugh. So even if their jokes or what they're doing isn't funny, just laugh, because they love to see people laugh with them. They need to see proof of your love, and it doesn't get tiring for them to keep hearing that you love them. Leo children really need to go their own way. They are very independent, like Aries, but they're not so much looking for the security and then they can be independent like Aries. Leo children are already pretty confident on their own, and they're a lot more self-assured than other children. They're usually the child that needs to do things differently from the rest of the group. If the kids are running one way, they need to run the other way. If the kids are using a specific color for their coloring page, they're going to use a different color or multiple colors, because they like to change it up, because they need to do things their own way. Because they're very confident, they like to show off. So let them show off. Let them show you the cool tricks that they know. Because they're so self-assured, they are actually pretty sensitive to rejection or feeling ignored. Just let them express themselves. They're usually pretty creative. Let them have that outlet. Virgo. Something I've noticed about Virgo children is that they're usually the children that you don't really end up having to worry about that much, so that results in them often being forgotten about. So it's important to acknowledge Virgo children. It's important to not overlook them in your family or in your classroom. They are really, really smart, even if they have a learning disability, because I've met Virgos that do have learning disabilities, but they are still very smart. So to acknowledge them, ask them questions about themselves, because they love sharing stories about their everyday life and their everyday experiences, and their stories are surprisingly very detailed and very specific. They can explain things that they notice that other kids tend to overlook, and by asking them questions and showing them that you're curious about them and you're interested in them, you know, that will help them. That will let them know, hey, I'm not being forgotten about. Hey, someone sees me and I can talk and share what I know and be myself. So this is part 1 of the zodiac signs as children, because I just don't want to make these videos super long. Hopefully you found some of this interesting, and let me know what you've observed from children based on their signs, if you have children of your own or from the children that you've seen. This can also apply to moon and rising, because some of these characteristics that I've mentioned, I've seen a lot with children of a specific moon sign or rising sign. So yeah, let me know what you think, and thank you for watching.